Dak, who threw 2 interceptions, was down 27-0 to the Packers before piling up some garbage time numbers. He's set for a large contract, and the Cowboys look like they're running it back in full. But, Nick, you think they should change course?
Well, here's what I think, and I guess you're going to once again say that this is in conflict, but
I'm not.
I have this weird feeling on sports. I care a lot about the postseason. And so I can think one thing all year, and then there could be something so great. I had Nikola Jokic as one of the most fraudulent two-time MVPs ever, and in a postseason run, I now believe he's one of the 20 greatest players ever. I don't think that I put more impact and emphasis on your postseason resume, even though it is a smaller sample, than I do on your regular season resume across the board. And it's not necessarily about what your win-loss record is. It's about your individual performance in those spots.
Right.
And so if I am the Dallas Cowboys and I am faced with the decision brew of I cannot do nothing with Dak Prescott. Cap-wise, it's not tenable. It's a $60 million cap hit, and you can't tag him this offseason, so you'd be paying have a $60 million cap hit, and maybe then he could just walk. To keep him, it's probably, and people are going to think this is crazy, it's going to be around 5 years, $300 million, $60 million a year, with probably a little over 2/3 of that guaranteed. I would, if I were the Dallas Cowboys, and that Dak would have to be okay with it because he has a no trade, call teams like Washington with the number 2, New England with the number 3, Atlanta with the number 8. They'd have to give me something additionally, and see if they would like to be the team to pay Dak Prescott 5 years, $300 million. Because I do not believe after this postseason performance, once again, that Dak Prescott is enough to carry a team, and at $60 million a year for the rest of his prime, that's what he'll have to do.
Well,
you are not going to have more talent than they have right now.
All right, so what if either the team is like, no, we'll pass, or Dak is like, no, I'm not agreeing to a trade? Then what?
Then I think you are in a brutal position, and the position that I would be in is probably take my medicine and risk losing him for nothing this offseason.
Wow.
I know the Cowboys won't do it. I know they won't do that. They will they're going to sign him to an extension is what they're going to do, but I would not want to tie the next half decade of my franchise at that salary to this guy, even though I thought he was the MVP for large portions of the year, because we now have his whole 20s sample size of his postseason performances, and the best one ever, Brew, was the first one we saw from him as a rookie in Green Bay.
All right, what I'm doing, look, you got to bring him back. You have to bring him back. Because now, if I'm Dallas, and maybe this is whimsical, all right, wishful thinking. If I'm the Cowboys, I'm sitting down with Dak and I'm saying, I'm not trying to make him the highest paid player in the league. All right. I'm like, look, we'll make you a top 5 guy. I'm bringing up how we need to build around you, Dak. So we need a little bit less, take a little bit, don't take as much as you can. Tom Brady won all those Super Bowls, never took as much as he could get. Dak, you're the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. If we win a Super Bowl, it is going to be like winning 2 or 3 Super Bowls somewhere else. All right, so we'll still make you top 5. Burrow's the most per year, 55?
Yeah.
We'll still give you 50, between 50, 52. I know that's still a lot, but let's take a little bit less so we can build around you. And look, Dak, coming off of this performance, he said himself, I should be on the hot seat too. Now, again, I'm not going to blame him if he just wants as much as he can get. But I'm just saying, if I were in Dak Prescott's shoes, I might be willing to say, you know what, I didn't perform. I didn't hold up my end of the bargain. I'll take a little less so we can build around it. But, Nick, I can't, if I'm the Cowboys, I cannot start over at quarterback. Look at these Pittsburgh.
Why not?
Because you could go the next 5 to 10 years without getting a legitimate quarterback. Yeah. I mean, ask Pittsburgh. They got almost everything else you need, and they're not Tennessee. Pretty good team. The Raiders, it is not easy.
Tennessee
and I hate
got
to say
further in the playoffs with Ryan Tannehill than Dallas ever has with Dak Prescott.
Okay, but that's somewhat flukish. Tannehill, I know you don't think he's better than Dak. My point is, unless you get that guy, and the draft is not a sure thing. Trevor Lawrence, now maybe he will become a star. Right now, he's been a tad bit disappointing. I mean, so you don't know when and some of the guys have been late picks that have become great. Lamar Jackson, or at least late first round. And so I'm keeping him. I'm keeping him.
Let me ask you a question. Someone sent this to me on social media, that it was a compliment. He said, Dak is Alex Smith. Like, very good.
He's better than Alex Smith.
But
Wouldn't you agree with that?
But Alex Smith with the Chiefs he was leading. Did he lead the league in passing before he?
They were terrible in the playoffs every year.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And there's a.
Don't you think? Do you think he's?
But he's not. But Alex Smith is a very, very good quarterback. But he wasn't the guy.
No.
And if the Chiefs just held on to Alex Smith, they would never be the Chiefs.
I think you put a one too many varies on Alex Smith there.
Very.
He was never in the MVP.
No, I think the better comp is the one Colin, to Colin's credit, has used for a couple years. It's Kirk Cousins. And they both, by the way, have the sleep number ads. But it's Kirk Cousins. It's one playoff win to 2 playoff wins. It's if you do those blind stat reveals that I like so much.
Right.
It's there's real similarities there, but you feel like he's a good quarterback. When he's paid like the best in the league, you're in a really rough spot.
Here, quickly, you don't get rid of that label until you do. Peyton Manning had that label. Peyton Manning won his. Hold on. Peyton is better than Dak. Don't get me wrong. He had won MVPs and all that. But he didn't win his first playoff game or Super Bowl till his 9th year. He was 3-6 in the playoffs. Now, he'd had some really good games, but he had some bad ones too. And so I'm just, you can't erase that label till you do it. And I think Dak, with the right pieces around him, actually could do it.
But these are the right pieces.
That's my problem. Is
Go get Derrick Henry. Dak, take a little bit less, and we're going to get Derrick Henry. They get Derrick Henry and a little bit of meat on the. Well, they could get Derrick Henry. I think you don't think that's realistic.
I mean, I guess.
Go.
He's free. Go get him.
McCarthy's
Thunder
not good
and Lightning
in the
is
playoffs.
back. Cowboys
are not really S-Bob. We discussed it. Brew, I don't even want to hear the answer to this question. Do you consider the Cowboys Super Bowl contenders if they run it back?
They will be what they are. They will be what they've been the last 3 years.
Don't say it.
Hold on. They'll be a fringe contender. They will be a team they might go 12-5, they might go 11-6, they might go 13-4 playing with fire in their belly because of this. But would I pick them to get to the Super Bowl? No, because they're still a silly franchise with an owner who's created a culture that is opposed to winning big. So they'll be good. They'll be legit. We'll be talking about them, and some misguided souls will pick them to win the Super Bowl, as some did this year in the preseason. Those will remain nameless.
Well, who picked them to win the Super Bowl?
To get to the Super Bowl.
You got to find those people. I don't know where those people. Listen, I am scarred by what happened on Sunday. I don't think you could have the Cowboys. The other sneaky thing that really matters this time of year, I shouldn't say sneaky, but I think it gets underplayed when we look back on seasons, is health. And I understand the Cowboys lost Diggs early in the season. But that was a healthy team. You know what I mean? They had their left tackle, Tyron Smith, who's in and out of line for the last couple of years. He's healthy. Zach Martin's healthy. Dak's healthy. The receiving core, all of that. It is going to be hard to realistically be better positioned in a conference more in flux than they were in the NFC this season. And this season, they didn't lose a heartbreaker. They didn't lose a fluky game. They got rolled in every quarter of that game until the Packers stopped caring. So that, to me, they are right now, as currently constructed, in a weird team to player, sport to sport, but similar bucket in my brain as James Harden. It's like, there's almost nothing you can do in the regular season. Like there's one, and maybe that's where they were for Brew early. Maybe Brew was ahead of me on it. But I didn't hold last year against them that much because I thought they lost to a better team, and they were on the road, and so there were a lot of things there. But now I'm like, what are you going to do that's going to make me truly believe this is not going to happen now that you have the same coach and you have the same quarterback?
Yeah. Playoff turnovers.
What?
Like Harden?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are the Chiefs being underestimated? That's next on FS1, the Fox Sports Channel at Sirius XM.